So in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly what you need to be doing as a videographer if you're starting from zero and you need to start generating your first few leads. Now, this process and this system that I'm going to show you will allow you to make your first £10,000 a month, whether that's securing retainer clients or whether that's going ahead and just doing one-off projects, but you will be able to make £10,000 with what I'm about to show you. Now, some people aren't going to like this strategy, but I think it's the one that gets you the fastest result. Not only that, but it's also the one that will allow you to build the biggest network and also build a name for yourself in your industry. So let's get straight into it. So within this strategy, the main thing that you are trying to achieve is, number one, you want to get your name out there. You want to tell people what you do. You want to make sure that you can show them what you can offer, and you want to make sure that you can actually deliver it. Now, a few pieces of advice that I would always suggest is don't take on more than you can actually handle. And number two, always make sure that what you are taking on is what you can deliver. Now, when I say that, I think be very cautious in pushing the boundaries. And what I mean by that is you always want to make sure you put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you can grow, you can develop. However, it isn't going to sting your reputation. And that's very, very important. So in most cases, your biggest issue is you have no leads. You may have the technical skills, you may know how to record, capture, edit, use a really good strategy to get a really good result, but in most cases, you don't know how to generate leads. And it's the biggest issue across a lot of different industries, and specifically as a videographer, even if you're a creative or an agency owner, your biggest issue is generating leads. Now, if you're starting from zero, if you're like, look, I just want to start, getting my first few customers, I've done a few free gigs, you've got your portfolio, you can show something. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you can show something and you can show a result, then you need to start having conversations. Now, the three main ways that we do this is, number one, via cold calling, number two, outreach, and number three, content. Now, the reason we use this specific three-stage formula is because, number one, it allows you to build authority, it allows you to expand your network, and it also allows you to have touch points and credibility when people start to research you. So let's start with the first one. What I also should mention is that when you have days where you are available, now this is going to vary from person to person. Some people have the whole week available. Some people work for 4 out of the 5 days, and they only have 1 day available in the weekday. The main thing to understand here is that you need to allocate at the bare minimum 4 hours a day when you have a full day available of lead generation and starting to get customers, or reaching out to people, telling them what you do. Like, it literally takes about 4 hours a day to start generating business, and it's the most important thing in any business or anyone's career, especially if you're freelancing and you're a creative that is trying to get your pay up and you're trying to get to that 10K mark. So the first strategy I'm going to break down is cold calling. Now, I know for a lot of creatives, this is something that, as an introvert, you may not feel comfortable with doing. Unfortunately, the only way you are truly going to get a lot of momentum is by starting to do this. It's by starting to let people know what it is that you can offer them and how it's going to benefit them. So at the bare minimum, you need to be doing about 2 hours a day of cold calling. And that's, reaching out to companies, reaching out to a target audience and basically saying, hey, my name is X. I just noticed that you're running X company. I'm just reaching out. Look, I know it's a call out of the blue, but the reason I'm reaching out is because I'm actually a specialist in creating content. I'm a videographer. And what I notice is that you've got an absolutely incredible service, but what you could benefit from is a spark of creativity to really capture that audience that you're not tapping into at the moment. Cold calling is always like, look, the first thing you think about is like, who do I call and when do I call them and everything like that, right? So the quickest and easiest way to start to generate some kind of leads, or a starting point in general to actually know who to call, is literally by going on Google Maps. Now, when you go on Google Maps, you want to specify who it is that you are targeting. Now, if you don't have a defined target audience, your best bet is to just understand what businesses could benefit from your service and then go ahead and then just research them in your local area. Now, in this example, as you can see, we're researching Northampton mortgage brokers. Now, if you're somebody that wants to target mortgage brokers in Northampton, all you would do is go on Google, type in Northampton mortgage brokers, and as you can see, you've got 1 number, 2 number, 3 number. So already you have 3 leads, 3 points of discussions that you can have and simply just explain and communicate to people what it is that you actually do. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that you're tracking everything. Tracking is single-handedly the most important aspect when it comes to actually generating business and growing and getting to that 10K mark. Now, depending on your offering, depending on what it is that you're actually selling, that's a whole nother video, but you want to understand that you're making 10 calls, and out of the 10 calls, 3 to 4 of them are actually coming through, having a further discussion, and let's say one of them is actually going ahead and taking you up on what it is that you're offering. Within your Excel spreadsheet tracker, so this is for somebody, like I said, if you're literally just like, I don't know what the hell I need to do, how do I get more business, right? I'm pulling my hair out. The main thing that your tracker should always have is the company that you're reaching out to, their name, their number, their company address, the comments, the date you call them, and the follow-up call date. So you don't just call the company once, because what you'll find in most cases is that once you reach out to them, you may not reach the right person, they may not be the decision maker, and what you have to do is then follow up with another call, whether that's 48 hours or 24 hours later. Within the comment section, the main thing that you want to also be tracking is what stage are you at with that specific company? You know, did you already have your initial call? Are you going through the discovery? Are you going through the proposal? Do you need to call them back tomorrow? So these are the 4 main things that you also need to know, when to do and, how to do them essentially. The next strategy that we use is outreach. And the most creative way that you can reach out to people and just put yourself in front of their faces is via LinkedIn. Now, in this case, where we focus on mortgage brokers, what we would do is we simply go on LinkedIn. And once we've actually gone on LinkedIn, we would then type in, what it is that we're looking for, which specific industry we're trying to work with. So here I would type in mortgage brokers in the top left, just as a simple search. And once we've typed that in, so what we do then is we literally go to all filters and then we add a location. Now within this location, you want to define exactly where it is that you want to be targeting people. So in our case, we would type in London, area, United Kingdom, and then we would show the results of the people within that area who are mortgage brokers. And as you can see straight away, number 1, we already have a number. And number 2, you just have a gold mine of opportunity with people who you're targeting that you can actually present your offer to. When you go to the second and third connection, well, this is what most people don't understand, right? Your first connection is the people that you're directly connected to already on LinkedIn. The second and third connection are the people that are within kind of your second layer of your network. So you're already connected to somebody who's the first, and then they're the second person in line. Then the third person is kind of self-explanatory from there, right? What you see here is that you have a goldmine opportunity of individuals that you can actually connect with and start conversation with and just explain what it is that you do and what it is that you offer. The best way to get somebody's attention on LinkedIn, on Instagram, pretty much anywhere that's social media is by using voice notes. This is super, super important. How you say it and what you say is a whole nother story, but the most important way to do that is by reaching out to them through voice notes. What I would say when I'm reaching out to them is something like this. Hey, John, I see you're doing some fantastic work and I hope you don't mind me reaching out. I wanted to ask you how you're currently finding the market and if there's anything that you could actually improve within your business. I thought I'd reach out because I think you could use with some creativity within your business to attract more leads and generate more business or give you more brand awareness. Now, when you initiate, you can use obviously a DM script example that I'm showing you here, or you can send them a voice note. Ideally, you would want to kind of do both. So first initiate with like, hey, how you doing? Hope you're doing some great work. How you finding the market? And then I would follow up with a voice note, as you can see that I've done here, right? And literally off the back of me sending that voice note, I pretty much got a response straight away. Hey, oh, fantastic. Please email me here. And then I would follow up with the email. Within the voice note, as I already explained, an authoritative and credibility focused kind of script goes like this. Hi, John, hope you're doing well. I work with mortgage advisors and brokers to help position their brand as the go-to expert in their area. Through content that builds trust and simplifies your message, we can help you stand out in a market full of noise. If you've been considering how to get more eyes on your service and generate consistent leads without chasing them, I'd be happy to share what's working right now. In that conversation, you're adding more value than you're taking away. You're not just saying, hey, I can make content for you, hire me, I'm the person to go to. What you're saying is like, look, if you want to have a discussion, I can share a little bit about what I know. And then if you need me to fulfill it, you need me to do it for you, I'd also be really happy to do that as well. The other way that we actually do this is through content. Now, content is very complicated in some cases, right? But the way you simplify it is by not putting too much passion and energy into actually trying to get the business. Within content, what you're trying to do is build credibility and authority about your knowledge, your know-how, what you do know, and exactly what you can offer to that person without directly saying it to them, without directly saying, hey, here's what I can do for you. Now, the way you would do this is, Number one, you want to just share free value, 3 points of information that, hey, I noticed for mortgage brokers, this is what's currently working. Try it out and let me know how it goes. If you want to talk more about how I can implement this for you, then reach out to me. What we find is in most cases, mortgage brokers, business owners, people that are actually actively running these businesses, they don't also have time to then go out and actively start doing these strategies and these methodologies that you're going to present to them. So in most cases, they're going to be like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. Let me just reach out to them and then they can do it for me. Majority of business owners, what you realize is that most of them don't want to take on more work. Most of them want a system, want somebody who knows what they're doing, and then they can also reap the benefits of that person. So in this case, if you're somebody who can generate more business through content for them, fantastic. They will literally just say, what's the cost? Does it make commercial sense? Yes, please come into my business and fulfill your service. When it comes to content, there's three main things that you have to focus on: production, copy, and scheduling. Now, this is how we break it down and we make it really simple. You have to think of a concept, right? Like, what am I going to share about today? Now, in this case, in this video, I'm sharing a little bit about how to generate leads. And then now we're producing the content, and then we're going to initiate with a copy, a headline, something that's catchy and will bring the target audience to our video. You then want to schedule the content. Now, the way I do this on my personal LinkedIn and stuff is I will kind of go ahead with the whole month. And with the use of ChatGPT and all of these AIs that are currently available, like that is your best bet. You can literally create 30 days worth of copy like within seconds, and you can ask it to create a hook and then an anchor, like storyline it. It's absolutely insane what you can do at the moment. But I typically, throughout the whole month, I'd probably spend about 4 hours on content, just producing it and scheduling it and getting it out there. Cool. So the next thing that you also want to be doing is, in most cases, the production, or let's say the image, the media asset, you want to have it stored in a local storage, somewhere where it's quite easily accessible, or even on a cloud storage as well. What I do is we use a system called Google Drive. I'm sure most of you actually know what that is. I drop all of my photos in there. What I'll do is I'll create a spreadsheet, and within that spreadsheet, I just put all of the copy in there, literally just breaking down, all of the value that I'm actually presenting in a storytelling way. Once I do that, once a month, I'll sit there for an hour. And I'll literally just sit there and I'll schedule it for the whole month on LinkedIn. And that's one of the best ways that I can actually reassure you that you will have output. You might not always have the best quality content with the most engagement, but that's what creative testing is for. And that's why you have to try different variations to make sure that you do know what works for you within your industry and your niche. So the next thing after that is literally just distribution on the different platforms and just getting it out there. The reason we use content is the first thing that people are going to see when they click on your profile. It's the first thing you are showing them about yourself, who you are, what you talk about, the type of discussions you have. And comparatively, if you think about it, if all you're doing is moaning about your life, not talking about anything progressive, that business owner isn't really going to reach out and think we're going to have a fantastic relationship. If you're somebody who actually talks about positive insights, the current market trends, what's currently happening in the industry, I'm sure you're going to be a lot more appealing than somebody who has zero interest in the industry already. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't show your personality. I'm pretty sure that's the other connecting part that actually brings people towards you. But you also have to be mindful to be professional and have characteristics of somebody who's easy to work with when you are presenting yourself online. Once you do this, once you've reached out, once you've called, the main thing is the follow-up, right? That's the most important part. Now, what you need to realize is that people aren't always in the best of moods. They may not be having the best day. And once you initiate, let's say they don't respond, your first action after that is literally to follow up within 24 hours. Hey, how you doing? I know you saw my message. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just something that I noticed and I think you could really benefit from it. If you are interested, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you about it even further. I don't mean to be pushy. I'm also not trying to tell you something you don't need. So just let me know thumbs up or thumbs down if this suits you. Now, the minute you do this and the minute you don't sound desperate and like you really want to secure the deal, people are more likely to have a conversation with you as well. So just make sure that you're following up when you don't get the response that you want initially. And in some cases as well, when you're going to be cold calling and basically calling businesses when they least expect it, they're not prepared, they're not ready for you to call them and sell to them straight away. And the other really important thing is like when you're initiating a conversation, you're not trying to sell. What you're trying to do is you're initiating, you're trying to understand, do they need what I have? And then if they do, you go, all right, well, let's do discovery, you know, break down a little bit more about what it is that you do specifically, and let me just figure out exactly how I'm able to help you. Once you've done that, then you go into the sales and be like, you know, thanks so much for taking the time to explain everything. Here is, you know, what it is that I can offer you and the solution that I can bring to you. Now, as I already mentioned, there should be 3 minimum touch points from the time when you initiate all the way to the follow-up. So you initiate, you follow up 24 hours later, and then 48 hours later until you get what you want. A conversation, an email, or just some kind of initiative that this is going to progress further. Now, what we've also included as a resource in this video is a cold call script for the decision makers, right? To reach decision makers. Like, what does that actually look like? Now, I'm not going to read it out because, you know, this isn't a cold call kind of play at the moment. We're not trying to role play here. But what I am going to do is actually include it as a resource so you can access it and then you can practice with who it is that you are going to be calling. Now, with this strategy, as I already mentioned, this is the fastest and the best way to get your name out there, present the value that you are actually trying to deliver, and actually secure some clients. Now, furthering on from this, the sales process, the discovery process, that's a video in its own about how you actually get to the point of knowing what it is that you can deliver to them. But for the most part, this is your fastest route to hitting that 10K a month. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you actually got some value from it, down below we have a link where you can access our free training, breaking down exactly how we go from initial inquiry down to selling our high ticket offer. So if you want to learn more, just click the link below.